I mentioned there are other methods of solving quadratic equations, and so today we're going to look at solving quadratics by factoring. And of course, I love factoring. So if you're going to try to factor a quadratic, the first thing you need to do is get one side of the equation equal to 0. So looking at example 1, we don't have one side equal to 0. So I am going to add 25 to both sides. Now, I always prefer to keep the quadratic term, which is x squared, positive. So that would give me x squared plus 10x plus 25 equals 0. Now, all of the problems in this video are what I call the easy factoring. Notice the coefficient in front of x squared is 1. And so you can ask yourself what multiplies to give you c. So what multiplies to give you 25? Well, you don't have very many options. You could say 1 times 25. You could say 5 times 5. You could also do -1 and -25 and -5 and -5. Of those, which pair add to give you that b term? Well, hopefully you notice it's 5 and 5. So that's how we're going to be able to factor this trinomial. It's going to break apart into two factors, two binomials. So think about how you would split apart x squared, x times x, and then you're going to use those 5s that you just found, and so we're going to say x plus 5 and x plus 5. And remember, you can FOIL to check to make sure that you've done that correctly. Now, I'm going to refer to each of those parentheses as factors, and so the second thing after we factor, which we did, is you're going to set each factor equal to 0. And solve. So what does that mean? X plus 5, that's a factor, is equal to 0. And then the other factor is going to be the same, but I'm going to go ahead and write them twice just so you can see the process. And then we would solve those. And so you just subtract 5 from both sides. So you're going to get x equals -5. And of course you would get the exact same for the other. I usually talk about this as a double solution. You know how quadratics are going to have two solutions. Sometimes the solution is a duplicate. So you are getting two solutions, but it's just a duplicate. Okay, now let's look at example 2. And so example 2, if you're looking at the steps right here, do we have one side equal to 0? We actually do. So we've already accomplished step 1. Now let's factor. And, you know, I should put try right here. All things will not factor, all quadratics. So we can just try. This is a binomial. It's a difference of squares, and so hopefully you see that this is going to factor into x, split apart x and x, and then with a difference of squares, one is going to be plus 4 and one is going to be minus 4. And remember, you can FOIL to check. And so then we're going to split apart each factor and set that equal to 0. So we're going to say x plus 4 could equal 0. X minus 4 could equal 0, and then solve. And so you should be getting, I'm going to put these in set notation up here, you should be getting a -4 and a +4.